Hi there, these comments are for HK. I am Michael from OTC, OnlineTOEFLCourse.com, and you're one of my students. And you sent me a essay, I think, yesterday. So let's take a look at it right here. Yeah, you have to get better control over your language use if you want to score higher here. I think that you have a good, nicely focused thesis. You definitely have topic sentences in each body paragraph, and you do a great job with the examples here. So this example is over 100 words, so that's perfect. So you just need to fix some of these language use issues. Now, I gave you a score of 3.75 out of 5, 24 points out of 30. So I think in the 3 here, we have may demonstrate inconsistent facility in sentence formation and word choice that may result in lack of clarity and occasionally obscure meaning. So you do have some problems, but there's also some great things here. You have very, very strong organization and development. So some things you do are in the 4 and some things you do are in the 3. So I'm going to put you in the high 3 on this one. Okay, let's just take a look at one of the paragraphs. I'm just going to randomly pick one and pay attention to the problems in here. Okay, so to begin with, the children are investing. You want to say children are investing most of, you want to say, their time on playing games and talking, chatting with their friends, and using social media for pleasure. And I'm going to put a comma to separate that dependent clause from the rest of the sentence there. Then they cannot focus on their, I'm going to put studies. For example, my nephew is in, I'm just put high school, and his study is I'm going to put more. His study is more arduous compared to his previous grades. Due to that, you got nephew, right? His mother is always worried about his scores in that class. In what class? I would just put in his because you didn't refer to the specific class before, as they will work as your criteria for admission for further scoring. To escalate her worries, he started to use his phone to play games all the time. And this is where you have a sentence structure problem. Whenever she asks him to study, then he always makes an excuse I'm going to put to make an excuse to give him 5 more minutes. And I'm going to change this. Whenever she asks him to study, then she always makes an excuse. He always makes an excuse to give him 5 more minutes, at which time he will study. Yeah, it's a little awkward how you said that. I got to lower your score here. You got, if I closely read it, I'm just making too many corrections. And this is only one paragraph, right? So I'm going to go down to 22 points on this. and then maybe put a period, something like meanwhile. He plays games in those 5 minutes. Consequently, she, yeah, I'm going to probably, she asks him to study, then he always makes an excuse. Meanwhile, he plays games in those 5 minutes. Consequently, I'm going to use past tense here. She became upset from his behavior because we're doing two things here. You're using the present tense to talk about a recurring action, right? I get it, right? And it is possible to do that. But the becoming upset thing is not, I'm going to look at this as a one-time thing. She became upset from his behavior, did not know what to do to handle this situation. Now she has decided to take, I'm going to say the phone because you've already talked about that before. See how you mentioned it here? She has decided to take the phone from him so that he can concentrate on his studies. He can concentrate. I'm going to say exclusively on his studies. And then you get rid of all those words you don't need. Therefore, now she has decided to take the phone from him so that he can concentrate exclusively on his studies. After this incident, she is finding an improvement in his scores and is glad that she made, I'm going to say made the right decision, because you're referring to something that you've already said here. So I think the is okay because it's second mention now. So I think here, if you go to the grammar part of my course, I want you to study the lesson. It's called Choosing Appropriate Word Choice. I think that's a good lesson for you right now. For example, you make a decision, you don't take a decision. Okay, so you also had some problems with verb tenses. You can review the grammar lessons on verb tenses. Finally, you had a sentence structure error in there. I want you to go to Google, what is a comma splice? And then make sure you eliminate those. So I had to go down. I went down from 375 to 35, 22 points out of 30, because of all the changes, the editing changes I have to make. And some of the problems were kind of interfering in your ability to communicate clearly. So be careful. All right? So then if we go back to the rubrics one more time, I think, inconsistent facility and sentence formation and word choice, especially word choice here, that may result in lack of clarity, may display accurate but limited range of syntactic structures and vocabulary. I don't think you have limited range. I think your range is pretty good, but you're just not controlling the grammar as you're using the sentences that you're writing. All right, thank you for doing this practice test.